Okay, on another project, I'm making some double bar BMX cruisers. Excuse me. Damn chickpeas. And here's the centerpiece. Not the final version, obviously, but a twin rear dropout in the frame, and what that will allow you to do is change the head tube angle. The upper one will be 65 degrees, and then when you put the wheel in there, it'll tilt the head tube in some and change it to a quicker steering, which I don't know what that'll turn out to be, but that's the plan. So that's the first step, is just knowing that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a half loop tail. I already jumped ahead and made a bunch of seat tubes, so I'm going to get on it here and do some bending on the loop end, and I have to kind of figure it out as I go. So follow me along, we'll see what happens. Okay, you probably can't see a single thing I'm doing. This is like a T.D.O style bender for bending tight radiuses. And I'm trying to use this 3-foot piece for the chainstay and bend it where both ends come out fairly even to one another. I still haven't found the magic distance, and I don't want to scrap a ton of material. I did some calculations, and if 18 is half and this is roughly 3, I have this at 15. In theory, it should be pretty darn close, but I don't know what I'm doing. So we're just going to give it a go and see what happens. You can maybe see that or not. The lighting ain't great. It's morning. You gotta have it real tight, even pressure. This thing's bitching. And I think it was like 350 bucks or 450 bucks, and I couldn't get the money out fast enough, I'll tell you. And we're totally wrong. Okay, so okay, so we know now. I can calculate the distance here between these two pieces. Half of that distance, whatever that is, it looks like maybe 2.5 inches. So if this was 16.5, I think it would have broke pretty even. But I'm not sure. We'll figure it out on the next one. Alright, so I hope that's in focus. It is, I want to make a little, sorry about that, cigar box kind of deal here. Old school front loop dropouts. But you got to make sure you got enough clearance for your proper sized real man chain rings. So you have to measure that distance there. I believe that's about 3 inches. And let's see. Yeah, 3 inches. Okay. And then that way your chain ring will clear. And then because it goes out, your cranks will clear. That's pretty narrow in the front. It's 13.5 for a 26-inch wheel. So all the way tucked in, it would be, there's some car sickness for you. There, plenty of room. And this is going to go past the dropout. So this piece, I may have accidentally scrapped this piece by not having it more. I'm going to have to make the dropout first and kind of figure it out before I bend up any more metal, because I'm running out of metal and I don't want to go to the metal store. God damn it. No fun. All right. Okay, we're going to start the dropouts. If I can find my freaking eye protector things, darn it. Hold on. Do this spray lube, should use my oil. Got lots of oil and not a lot of spray lube. So that's the first cut. You can see that. And then I'm going to go over there with the mark that line, hit that line, and cut the next one. I'm just going to fast forward past that because you saw it once. It's the same thing twice. Okay, the dropout is machined. I'm probably going to put like something here or a speed hole because that looks a little clunky, but whatever. So that'll get your spacing. You want the stay to support the dropout. This is really thick metal. I've seen real fancy BMX cruisers with credit card width, but here's the test. See, you got to make sure that your lug nut does not interfere, and it looks like we're good on that front. So I think at this point I can move on to making the little cigar box there. I'm not going to do any welding until I get all the pieces kind of sorted out, and that way once they're good I have to make copies. So that's where we're at. Okay, I got the little cigar box in and dropouts. It is about 13.5 from there to there, and that will fit a regular 26 by 2 125 wheel just right. You got a little room. I kind of pushed them out a little bit, mainly because I messed up bending the material, but I think them sticking out a little bit is a better look. Yeah, I think this distance is okay here to take the chain ring for old school parts. So that's what we go for. So progress, and I'm going to start working on the upper section of the loop next. Okay, I tried to do unanimous loop tail bend, and of course I messed it up. It's really hard to do repetitive symmetrical stuff like that because the tube wouldn't fit the opposite way. So after I scrapped some material that I couldn't really afford to scrap, I came up with this solution. And you bend the loop, and then you cut it in half, and then you bend it down there, and that way you're able to control exactly where it bends. And then I will put a something in this spot here to connect the two pieces, like a tube. Well, obviously it's going to be a tube. My P-brain wrapping around this. Yeah, that's where I'm at, and that's coming along. So we'll see how it goes. I may only be able to make like 1 or 2 of these because I just don't have a lot of metal left, and that's the plan. Get rid of it. Okay, slept on it. Which, if you're flummoxed by a problem building things, I highly recommend backing off and sleeping on it. So I cut the tubes, used a tailor's tape measure to match the bends. I was having some trouble getting symmetrical bends. You had to cut it in half, if you can see that, in order to fit it in the tubing bender, which is fine. And then now that's kind of the look. I had to remove the bottom because the holder thingy, I only got one. And then it's going to come up here like this, and that's going to leave, it's going to kind of have an unusual look. And I thought about maybe just putting straight, you know, kind of just doing that. And then it would just be Attack of the Clones, you know, it would be another double bar cruiser. They all look kind of the same after a while, so it's going to have kind of an unusual look to it, which is I'm okay with. It's obviously not going to jive with everybody. So, but yeah, it's a neat concept. We'll just keep going. I'm glad I figured that out. And I got to build a bridge between the loop tail and the C-tube, so I got to figure out what to do there. Now alrighty, so this is going to be the bridge piece, and you can just hand file this stuff. You just start really light, file, and then drop all your shit on the ground because you didn't tighten it up enough. That's always smart. It's okay. I leave all the warts and mistakes in the videos because it's just part of the process. See, just got the handle caught on my hoodie. I'd say it's cold, but you know, if you don't live in Southern California and I'm saying it's cold, that's a joke, right? You don't know cold. You're right. I don't. I pay $5 for a gallon of frickin' milk so I don't have to freeze to death every year. I can ride my bike all year round. It's worth it. So, enough of that. Just a little bit, and then widen it out. It's always good just to work slow. Take your time. You don't want to go too far. And you just check for fitment. Okay, so now we check. See what the deal is. Okay, let's see. We go over here. Huh? Yeah. See? Just like that. Looks like it'll dive down more if I file more. So I think what I'll do is I'll get the vise and I'll crimp the sides of this like I did this side and just kind of sandwich it into the C-tube there, and that's going to be the bridge. So like that, just like that. So I got to take a little bit more out of the bottom here, and then I think it's good. I'll pause. Alright, so I have these, and this is from me and Jim, Genuine Bike Products. These were bad, bent incorrectly for the bikes that he and I made many years ago, and with a little tweaking, I mean, it'd go right in there and it would look bitchin'. But this is not a Genuine Bicycle Products bike. This is just one of my backyard creations. It's not welded up nice by Jim, who's an excellent fabricator. So I think putting this there would be a shortcut, and it would look cool, but it would create confusion, and I'm not interested in deceiving anybody. You know, if I was, I'd get into politics, right? Okay, so no. Fuck that. So we make this. It's a little more primitive. I still think it looks cool. Very old school 70s, kind of like a lot of those early bikes were very backyard built kind of look. And that's what we're going to go with, and that's why. So I got a whole box of those gussets. I used one to fix my truck. So, you know, they're useful, but I don't want to do it that way. It just didn't seem right with me. Okay, the rear triangles I think are pretty sorted out. So I cut some head tube material. This is chromoly. So the only reason I picked it is because I could buy it with the internal diameter for $32.5, ready to go, no machining required, saves a lot of time, but it's like $12.50 a foot before shipping, so a lot of money, but what's your time worth? So I just throw it in the lathe and just clean up the cut. Just to get that, and then I want to reposition it, the tool, to trim the edge and just get it nice 90 degrees. I have a chaser facer tool, but this works pretty good, so I may as well just use it. Doing is just giving it a quick little pass to get the head or the end of the head tube even. The switch is bad, and then I bought a new one off of Fleabay, and then they sent me a thing saying there's a recall on them, so I'm not putting it in. But I've got a new lathe, new to me, from 1936, which needs a little work to get going, and then it's gonna most likely replace this lathe as the main lathe that I'm going to use, because this is a hobbyist lathe. The tool deflection on this thing is insanely bad, really bad. So it'll be fun, be able to open up some new horizons for me. So that's the little process. Always turn the shit off all the way. Keep those fingers. Defective merchandise. Alright, so that's a head tube, and I'm just going to clean the flash out of there, but now this is 90 degrees, and I got 2 more. I'm making enough stuff for 3 bikes. I may only have material for 2 bikes, but then I've got some extra dropouts and stuff if I want to recreate, if I feel like it. So you take one of these little guys, and that's to get all the little sharp pieces of metal out. So, really cool tool. Nice and smooth, see? No cuts. You don't have to do anything else. That's a lot of work. Just to make a head tube, and no real machining, just cutting it and then cleaning it up. So that's why when someone wants to charge you an arm and a leg for a custom frame, you can see why. I charge like 350 bucks for a frame if I just do like a little run of them, because you know, I'm not a professional. I'd rather just put it in someone's hands. I like the skill building, right? And that covers my materials and then some. Time's irrelevant as far as I'm concerned, because I'm enjoying what I'm doing. It's fun. A lot of people just squander their life watching TV, you know, and they run out of time. Oh, I should have done all these things. Well, yeah, you should have, but you didn't. So I don't want to look back at the end and have that shoulda, woulda, coulda conversation with myself. So this is a great way to spend the morning making cool stuff. Damn the filthy lucre. Alright, so I'm working on the down tubes first. What I do is I'll miter this, because this is 90, it's real easy. And then I get this close and finish it with a hand file and get it where I want it. You try to get these as flush as you can, then your welds are better and everything. So, and I'm using this. You don't have to have this crazy thing. This is a lot of money. A JD squared tubing notcher is perfectly good, and me and my partner Jim made every single Genuine Bicycle Products frames using that tool, and it just works with a big old drill, and you stick it in the vise and you're good to go. So you don't need all this, but I got it, so I use it. So then you get closer and closer, and you finish it with the file, and you put it back on here with your cutoff wheel, which I already swapped out, and then that way you can make the same cut and do a run over and over again. So the first one takes a little while, but once you get it set up, basically setting up your tooling, you can make 10 of these, 50 of these, it doesn't matter. So that's how that whole thing works. So now I'm going to reset the table here to do a 90 cut, and I'm going to use the one that I finished that works to set it up. So get that close, and I just use a 90-degree jam like that, and you line it against the table and get it 90. Real straightforward. Even I could figure it out. Come on, what you doing? just lock it down. But you know, you probably don't have like what would probably be thousands of dollars worth of frame building stuff. But you can use that JD squared tubing notcher. It works really good. So I'm going to put this in there, and this thing's great because it 90s this. I'll bring the camera over and show you. Stepping on stuff. So this was made by Anvil, and he retired, but I think there's a lot of this stuff out there, and there was a frame building renaissance, and I'm pretty sure that's all gone. There's probably a lot of this tooling up for grabs now, and if you intend on making frames as a hobby, having the nice equipment really does make it easier, more versatile. You can try all kinds of different things like I'm doing. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to go ahead and fire this thing up and finish cutting these tubes. So we'll do that now. Check it. Should be good. In theory, it should just plop in there. See? Look at that. See, it just plops in. Goes right in. Down there, down tube. Gonna do one more. And it's coming along. Wacky frame. It's going to be different. Okay, so rolling some top tubes. Harbor Freight tubing roller. This thing works really good. I got a 28-inch piece of metal in here. You do have to scrap some of it to get it to work. You got to have enough material to roll through the roller. And it's real straightforward how it works. You just roll it little at a time, and you got to kind of keep an eye on it because it'll want to kind of banana twist, so you just keep adding pressure. Go to the end on each one, back and forth. This thing I think was like 75 bucks, and I've used it extensively through the years. I'm going to try to match the curvature of, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, that Schwinn frame down there to get my top tube. Same process. Sometimes you put a pair of vice grips on the end and kind of guide it to get it to work. Ooh. Stab yourself with the material. Already getting some curvature. It'll get a little harder as time goes on. You just gotta use leverage. Like that. Hell yeah. I think a few more passes and we'll pull it out and check it. We did like huge 20-foot sticks in this thing, and it was a giant curly Q and went above the line of the sheds. And one of us was up on the roof guiding it. It was pretty funny. We just kept the curvature the whole way that we wanted, and it worked.
getting there. Fits a little more, that's okay. A little less, I'd say not as much. Okay. Of course, you can't take it back, so. Some curvature there. That's pretty darn close. I'd say a little bit more. Very exciting stuff. Bring it back and check it one more time. That looks pretty good. We'll go ahead and pull it out. Stick it back in the tool and double check it. Oh yeah, there we go. So that matches. That didn't take that long. So yeah, this thing's great. You want to do curved top tubes? There you go.
Okay, after probably a good hour of fussing, I got the top tube in there. The curvature is a little more shallow than I thought it would be, but that's okay. It's just how it goes. That allows me to make more tubes real easy. Curved tubes, when you miter them, kind of give you a false reading. You can't really use the indicators, so I just use a Sharpie and get close, you know, and then fiddle it with a hand file, and a lot of back and forth. It takes a long time. So straight ones, not so big of a deal. So here's my assistant. What's going on, Kitty Mau Mau? What are you doing? Being a cat? Yes, yes you are. Alright, so that's where we're at. Alright, what I'm doing, because this thing is so wacky, it's very hard to get these two pieces to align. They're probably not 100% symmetrical. I want them to align pretty even on the dropout, and then they can be tucked in here. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it and just putting a tack on each side, and then I'm going to kind of manipulate them to where I need them to be that way, because it's really hard to get it. And I'm kind of cheating. I'm using the MIG welder, so now that just gives me the ability to kind of manipulate them. I want to try to tuck this in like that. See, that's going to give me the ability to do that, and then this here will stay pretty straight. So I'm going to tack either side there after I put eyes on it,
a couple times, and then I can align this and compress it and get it even. So that looks pretty good. And then I'll trim these guys. It's kind of it's a really bizarre setup. So that's kind of how that has to work. I'm going to weld it, and then so you can have a little bit of deflection there, but not too much. And then I have to weld this on the top here before I weld the bridge in. So I'm just going to tack that in place. Now you can see like that, and that comes up, and then there, that aligns with the rear end, and then down here is the dropout. So kind of have to do that, I guess. It's an unusual frame, so you have to do things a little differently. The front triangle is pretty straightforward, standard stuff, and I'm going to put that second bar in there, but you have to do that last to get it even with the ground. Otherwise, it doesn't look good. All right, progress. We'll keep going. I'll keep you updated. So these I had to cant in a little bit so they will conform with the dropout. That had to be kind of refitted after I tacked that in place because it kind of changed everything. So yeah, we're making progress. I should have the frame tacked up here in a minute. Okay, we're tacking this thing together. Do some tack welds with the TIG. Alright. Bear with me. Just gonna throw a couple tacks and we'll see what we got. It's always, you gotta clean. I'm just doing tack welds though. shop, right? Bigger shop, bigger shop, bigger mess. It would look the same. There's no point. It's not worth spending the money to build a bitchin' shop because I just know me and I know I would just fill it full of crap and that'd be the end of it. So why bother? This kind of keeps things modest, keeps the price down because there is no money in making friends. Always good just as you're going along, double check. I may have nudged these, so I'm going to check them again with the caliper before I weld. I'm going to weld this, and then I'll do that after I check it because I'm not sure. I may have bumped them. Resharpen this thing anyway. Okay, pause the vid for a minute. Yep, I knocked everything a little off. Even when I measured it, it looks wrong visually. So it's always good to double, triple check. Make sure everything's good. That's the problem when you machine stuff. You do get contaminants. You have to clean, and I didn't. I don't know where the hell my brush ran off to. There it is, behind the camera. Yeah. So, that can be fixed, but it's better to just do it right. You can see that bright orange on the metal. That means that the metal is dirty or contaminated, so I need to do a little more thorough cleaning. Okay, so now we get the other side here. Now that this is tacked on one side, I can make a more vigorous scrubbing. I'm going to work my way up, do the down tube to the head tube, and then you've got to really pay very careful attention to a curved top tube, because it's very easy for it to roll off to one side or the other, and you have to start all over again. It's a hassle. So yeah, that's how that goes, just so you know. Checking the top tube, eyeball it, make sure it looks good. It's going to creep on you. Sometimes these are better to weld top and top, tack it, and then you can twist it to make it align if it's a little off. Just with my experience. Okay, I got one tack there, double check it. Looks pretty good. The other ones have a little more curvature, maybe they'll come out a little cooler looking or whatever. Now, what the hell is cool anyway? Yeah. Okay, this frame is officially tack welded. Let's take a look. Let's see. Kind of get the gist of it. I don't know, it's probably going in and out of focus and giving you vertigo, but there it is. I'm gonna go ahead and take it out of the fixture in a couple minutes. Okay, there it is, out of the fixture, tack welded, obviously far from finished. That light shining behind is its radness. Don't worry about that, but we have, I'm farting, we have proof of concept. Wheel, See? Alright. This is a 2125, a little low on air, but there's a probably like close to a pinky width of clearance there, and plenty there, all the way tucked in. And then up here, this will give it the degree in the fixtures, which should be 65. And then this, when you put it down here, that's going to push the rear end up, and then this whole thing will come down. So this you're going to lose a few degrees too. I maybe should have made that a little more slack, but that's okay. But hey, that's kind of what it looks like. I don't think it looks bad. I was a little worried this would be a little goofy. It's a little goofy, but it's not crazy, super goofy. Slice. I'm going to get the other one or two together depending on how much material I have tacked, and then do the straightening, and then I'll weld them all, and then I gotta put the second bar in here once I get a fork and everything on it, because I want to have it level and put it in the correct spot, and then have it even with the ground. That's the look. So that's what you want to do, at least what I want to do. So I'm doing it. Alright. Okay, I've got all the frames tacked, and now I'm checking for straightness, just running a guide across the frame. And I don't know if you can see that, but it's higher here than it is here. So what I like to do is just start with the seat tube and get the center of it approximate. You know, it's a bicycle after all. And then look at the head tube, and then look at the bottom bracket. So the bottom bracket and the seat tube look pretty close to the line, and the head tube is higher. So I'll push on this. Now it's just tacked, so you can just hand pressure. You don't need to get crazy with it. And see, I went a little too far, and if you start wiggling the metal too much, you'll break your tacks, and then you'll have to start all over again. So we don't want that. So you're getting some level of straightness. You know, the ancient art of eyeballing it. That's what I'm doing. The rear end's just like a 1/16 of an inch, and I'm just using hand pressure like that. That's it. So I do that. Double check. Once you weld them, you've got to re-straighten them, and if you've never welded up a frame before, you do have to kind of work around. See, that fixed that. If you weld all on one side here, so like you weld here, that's going to pull this head tube like that, and then you got problems. So you have to kind of work around it a little bit and get it more secure. You know, maybe do a pull here and then lay one over here on this side, you know, if you want it to be more straight, because you're going to have to re-straighten it. High-end bike builders like Santa Cruz, you know, they have to straighten their frames. So nothing's actually truly straight. There's probably a couple bike brands out there that say they're real straight, and they probably are, but that takes a lot of work. And this is key, is the head tube. You don't want it cattywampus, because that's going to make the bike kind of dive to one side or the other. So that's just handling. And it looks like it's just a little bit off. So for that, maybe I could twist it by hand a little. See, if not, you got to put something in there and get some leverage. Try it again. There we go. That's all it took. Okay, so this one's pretty good. I'm just gonna go ahead and move on to the other ones and get them all done, and then start welding. That's it. You don't need to see me do this 3 times. Alrighty. on the last leg of the last frame. I think I started around 7-ish this morning, and it's got to be close to 5. It's taking all day. I haven't welded in a long time, and it shows. So I guess if I was a professional welder, my welds would look professional, and since I'm a hobbyist, they look like a hobbyist welder. Supposed to be a little more grinding on these frames than some of the other stuff I've done when I was more consistent. Been just doing other things, but it's okay, you know. It helps keep me somewhat in practice. I've got another frame idea I'm excited about after this one, but I've got some other stuff to do, some real exciting stuff that I've been working on for 6 years, and it's finally starting to come to fruition, and I can't talk about it, so don't worry about it, but it has to be secret. Anyway, finish this up. See what the fuck. I know what I did wrong. I didn't turn the goddamn gas back on. I just got the bottle filled this morning, and it was $155. That is that. It's gone up and up and up and up. Like everything, I'm sure we're all experiencing that nowadays. So, library's free, people. Takes a long time to do this. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with how I've become much better at welding. I'm consistently mediocre now. You know, I mean, I'll never appease the nerds, you know, not unless it's like NASA level shit. I mean, it's a freaking bicycle. If you looked at the welds on the rocket engines of the Apollo 15 spacecraft, you'd scoff at them, but they put people into space, so I don't know, whatever. I'm not trying to make up for poor craftsmanship. I know I'm not that good of a welder, but I keep trying, just keep striving, you know, don't give up, and you get there. So I don't know if you can see that. I'll just show you just what I did. Zoom out. Zoom in. Looks like it's out of focus. Maybe there. I'm giving you a headache, aren't I? No. Really bad. No. Yeah. Anyway, that's what's going on. Make you throw up watching my videos. Oh my god, I'm getting car sick. That side's done. This side needs to be done. Everybody's got to clean, clean, clean. This is why I didn't want to film me doing this, because I've been doing this all fucking day. It's probably about as exciting as watching a Tupperware party or golf or something like that. Something awful boring. Do they even have Tupperware parties anymore? That used to be a thing. 70s, early 80s. I guess plastic containers aren't that big of a deal anymore. But back when those things came out, they were the jam. That was a big deal. people were really excited about that because everything is in glass. But now we find out, you know, that's way healthier than cooking shit in plastic and then imbibing the plastic. Just like right now, I'm breathing burnt metal fumes while I'm talking. Real healthy choices all day. Yeah, the straight line stuff, pretty good. I mean, curved tubes are much more challenging to weld on. I've had some issues with the head tube material I've used. It's a little on the thin side, and if the joining tube is too close to the edge of that head tube, I burn a hole through it. I think I've done it almost every time. So I need either to make the head tubes longer or source another tube, a thicker tube, and machine it so it's more durable for my lack of precision in this skill. I missed a few spots here. Just passing over some of it again. Clean it up. Maybe I shouldn't be talking while I'm doing this because I'm making mistakes. I'm a hobbyist. This is a hobby. I'm not doing it as a job. If I was a good enough welder to be a professional welder, I'd be welding things that were really lucrative, like structures and stuff. Planes. Whatever. I don't know. They're using weld planes? They have robots do it. No idea. Okay, let's see. Those two, all that's done. Flip it over. This is the tail end of this frame. I'll show it to you. Okay, I got one more to do, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do next. But not today. I'm totally just done with this today. There we go. I don't want to weld anything anymore today after this. This is enough. You gotta rest your hand on something. I got pretty steady hands, but this really involves a lot of stability. Don't know if the camera mic's picking up all that. I'll try to talk a little louder. That's looking much better. I'm more of a learn by doing person than reading or especially watching videos. Actually, I read a lot. So I do learn by reading, but that's just more like basic academic education. Okay, that's done. And I'm seeing I missed a spot here, so I'm going to just sneak in here and zap it real quick. There's enough material there from the fill rod to fill up that gap. It just heated it up and cooled it. And there we go. Okay, that's good. Alright, so now I'll put it in the vise and I'll back up and showcase my mess. Okay, I'll pause the video and restart it with focus. Okay, there's the initial frame welded. Let's see, there's going to be the double bar, but I have to put a fork in it and wheels in it,
so I can get that where I want it, so it's level. You can see it's got the twin dropouts and the little box there, the cigar box there, the curved top tube, and then the head tube. And like I said, in here I burned a hole because this is just too thin. How I'm going to fix that is I'm going to use a torch, because it welds at a much cooler temp and it won't melt the metal. So I'll blob some braze in there and then file it. I did that with my Law Wheel Pro Cruiser builds. A couple of them I messed up on. So yeah, so that's where we're at. It looks pretty good. A couple things. One thing I did differently is I welded a good chunk of it in the fixture, and I normally don't do that, but I'm experimenting, because when you weld it out of the fixture, like I've been told by the pundits that you're supposed to do that, it gets pretty crooked. So maybe this will alleviate some of that problem. I'm looking at this now and just eyeballing it. It just looks a lot straighter. I've had issues with the curved top tube rolling over to one side or the other, so that seems to be somewhat alleviated. That's also a cause of me making lots of frames. This will push me up to 70 frames now, and the frame building pundits say 100, and then you start really like becoming competent. So I got a long way to go, considering that this took all freaking day just for welding, not mitering tubes, figuring stuff out, tacking, all that stuff, straightening. So, you know, each one of these frames has just a ton of hours into it when they're done. I'm going to go over it, and then I have to clean up my welds and stuff, and, you know, all that, and make it look somewhat presentable. So that's where we're at. I'll pause there, and then I'll pick it back up when I've got it mocked up and get the second tube in there. All right, back at it now. Next day. So we want this bar level something. Let me go behind it. Get a rough idea. I tried to use one from a different bike, but the head tube was different, so, and I don't know, I kind of, with these, there's a weird, what is the box, what does this shape look like? And that's the shape that you want, and for some reason that shape is typically you get somewhere in here and then somewhere in there, and then it looks pretty good. And if you deviate from that, like go like this, I don't know, I don't think that looks as good for whatever reason. Just aesthetics, probably just staring at endless pictures of double bar cruisers and kind of just conforming to what's been done before. R&D, rip off and duplicate, right? That looks pretty good. So maybe a functional pen would be nice. What the fuck? Oh, okay, I'm chewing on the back of the pen. I'm stupid. I don't need those teeth. It's okay. Rough. That pen's no good. Alright, we have to start over, darn it. It worked yesterday. You just annihilate Sharpies doing this stuff. No good. I'll be right back. Good. Okay. All right. Last Sharpie in my possession. I don't have to get some more down the road here. And I'm not liking that. That's got an angle. Maybe bring it down. Or, I don't know. Maybe tucked up in there doesn't look so bad to me right now. Just, yeah, about there looks good. Okay. Very high tech. Now I've got some rough marks. I'll cut outside them and then I can figure out the miter on the tube and then get it sorted out, and then I can just recreate it using the mill, make two more, and they won't be all identical because none of these, they were all within, you know, like a 30 seconds, eighth of an inch of one another. So that's the general look of it. It's pretty cool. The bottom bracket's nice and high, good for off-road riding. And then here's the deal. We can already check this. I have a degree finder, so let me find that and then I'll restart the video. All right. I couldn't find my Harbor Freight one, which I like, but I've got this old school one here, which is pretty cool, but I had to figure out how to use it first. So you put it there, and that's eyeballed roughly straight-ish, right? So in the most severe angle, I've got roughly, that's 65 degrees. Probably reading it wrong. And then that's what it was in the fixture. So now let's move the rear wheel to the other dropout, and that pushes the frame up. So get that guy in there. Just rest it in there. Okay. Get all that crap out of the way. Okay, now that changes things a little bit. At least we can get the difference. Now that goes back a couple degrees, about like that. And now that is closer to 70. Oh, there it is. Ah, 70. And then the other one, now I know how to read it. I wasn't seeing there's a team line there. I'm going blind. I'm going to be a senior citizen this year. I don't need glasses yet, but low light and eyeballs are not playing nice anymore. I've noticed once I hit 9, 10 o'clock in the evening, I can't read anymore. But in the middle of the day, no problem. So I do eye exercises. I don't want glasses. It's inevitable. But I'm trying to keep that point in my old man future as far away as possible. All right, now, so 70, and then here, and you want, now it's back in the upper position. And that is, it says, maybe I didn't read it right the first time. I'm an idiot. It says the same, which isn't right. Obviously, it changed things considerably. I think there's like a 3 or 4 degree difference. I'm probably reading the tool incorrectly. So, yeah, that should be my baseline. No, it's not where it was. I'm gonna eyeball it a little better. I was just saying how I'm going blind. I'm going blind. Considering all the books I read and welding and stuff I do, I'm surprised I'm not more fucking blind. There we go. Sorry, I read it wrong. Yeah, that's like a 5-degree difference. That's pretty severe. That's pretty cool. So it'll totally change the handling characteristics of the bicycle, which is what I was going for in the first place. Next step is cut tubes, miter. I'm gonna just skip past all that and get them in position, and then I have to straighten the frames, little cleanup, touch up welds, and then I'll drop those in there, and then they'll be done. I'm probably should build one up and ride it, but we'll see. I don't know if I got a fork that'll fit it all the way. We'll find out. Okay, second tubes are all mitered down there. They need a little filing, which is fine. Each frame's going to be slightly different from one another. I got to straighten the frames, and then I'll weld that second tube in, and then do all the finish work, and done. So maybe in the next couple days these will be finished. Just showing you some straightening. See, that little line's the center, and it needs to go up some. This is real complicated. I use my 2x4 frame alignment tool and just use the table leverage. That little click means something happened, and you check it. There. That's it. I saved you the agony of looking at the rest of this stuff. But, yeah. There it is. Straightened. That's the third one out of 3. I think I'm calling these the T.D.O cruiser for twin dropout. That's real creative. But, okay. A couple more. It's the morning chickens. Alright, I'm on the home stretch with the welding. I already welded up the other two. All these little, these third bars took a little filing, fiddling, because, you know, the frames didn't wind up exactly identical. They're really close, but you can never get exact. If you look at a lot of factory bikes like Mongoose Motomag frames and stuff like that, you can see inconsistencies. I mean, it is what it is. It's fine. I think that makes them a little cooler. So I'll finish this up. Little welding. By the time I get to the tail end of welding again, then I start to get better. But I'm still at that hobbyist level. We're not at stack of dimes yet. It's still sometimes it's a stack of dimes, and then sometimes it's loose change. So that's okay. Keep going. That's a spot. Easy to go kind of thing.
This one's always, get that little corner there, it's always tricky. So I just do this, lay it up, and then drop the gun in there. Just fill it in. There's plenty of fill rod already in the material. Smooth it out some. Okay. I'll stop the camera and then focus on the well. You can kind of see where I was going pretty good, and then I kind of lost my way there and messed it up a little. So that's kind of where I'm at. That's my level. So I'll stop and refocus. So there you see, closer into the back of the frame, I was doing pretty good, and then I got up to the top, and the miter wasn't very good there. And then I started to kind of booger it up a little. It doesn't look bad, but it's not super Sano, bro. But looks pretty cool. So, okay, I'm going to keep going and finish this up. And then next is cleanup and honing the seat post and serial numbers. And then maybe I'll cobble one together and ride it around. But we'll see. Okay. The twin dropout, or T.D.O. cruiser. Twin dropouts, has a roughly 5-degree sweep on the head tube angle. In the upper one, it's 65, and then the bottom one, it's roughly 70. Of course, that changes the seat tube angle. Pretty cool, old school BMX cruiser, 7/8 seat post, 1-inch threaded head tube. There's one mocked up with some wheels, so you can kind of see what it would look like. And there you go. Enjoy.